This is not entertainment.
And everything was lovely once again.
Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for The Walking Dead. This one's going to be doing our very first review for a brand new Walking Dead spin-off series. This one is our review for the pilot episode of The Walking Dead Dead City Season 1, Episode 1, Old Acquaintances.
You don't trust me? Hell, I wouldn't trust me either.
I got a plan.
Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for The Walking Dead. This one is going to be doing our very first review for The Walking Dead Dead City. We're here to review Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot episode, Old Acquaintances. So, yes, the first episode of The Walking Dead City is now out right now. You can go ahead and watch it on AMC+. Go ahead and check out the first episode for yourselves and come on back and let me know what you think. So, this will be a spoiler review for the first episode of Dead City, so you have been warned. This review is going to go into major plot details, major spoilers, so if that is something that you don't want to see, or if you have not watched the episode yet, definitely watch it and then come on back and watch this review. So, what did we think of the first episode of Dead City? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing right now, guys. This is one of the greatest Walking Dead episodes in a long, long time. This had such a unique vibe to it. It had such a incredible beginning for a spin-off series, in particular. You know, Walking Dead, definitely since the last, few years has really struggled to come out with a really successful spin-off. And I think they probably found their footing with this one. I really do. I think that this is going to be a very successful spinoff for The Walking Dead. Because, I mean, literally, you've got Negan and Maggie, who are two of the most beloved characters of the main Walking Dead. But in addition to that, this show, and in terms of what I've seen from this first episode, and in terms of what they, showed us in terms of quality, in terms of style, in terms of just everything, it is Walking Dead, but it's also so not Walking Dead, There's a lot of vibes in this that are completely original, completely unique, and I think that's what made this episode work so well. So, basically, here is the premise of this series for anybody that is wondering. Basically, Maggie is looking for Herschel. Herschel has gotten captured, of course, by this guy named the Croat, who is our main antagonist of this episode. We only see him at the end, but we do hear about him a lot. And basically, Maggie has lost Herschel due to this Croat guy, right? Which is someone that Negan knows. And basically, the general idea is that she's going to get Negan to help her with him and help her on this mission to get Herschel back. Now, we kind of get introduced to Maggie in this episode in the opening scene. She's kind of like supervising New York. She's watching Manhattan, and she's kind of just sitting out there, like kind of being a worried mom, just kind of waiting to see if she can get any kind of sign of Herschel whatsoever. And basically, she kind of looks stressed. She's kind of not doing so well. She runs into a few walkers who, of course, she ends up kind of fighting off. And she brutally just brains one of the walkers in a really good, like, slow-mo, very nice cinematography type of scene. Very good. I like how she just releases her anger out on the dead. So then we get the intro sequence, which is by far the greatest intro I've seen of this franchise. I would even include The Walking Dead in this topic. That intro is absolutely incredible. I mean, the visuals are insane. You got the Statue of Liberty, the pan-up shots, the fires and stuff. You've got the incredible city landscapes, and the soundtrack is on point. I mean, honestly, this is such an incredible intro. It's such a gripping opening credits for a show. So after the intro, we then go back to Maggie. She goes to this bar, basically this bar with like a few, survivors or whatever. She goes there. She has a drink. She kind of pretends like she's like kind of intoxicated so that she can sneak out the back. And then, of course, she searches this place through and through, basically. So Maggie then, of course, realizes that this place is not as it seems, at least, and they end up catching her. They end up catching Maggie in the act. They're almost about to kill her. They're almost about to completely put her down. They literally pin her down to this table, and you've got like 4 guys that are surrounding her, and she ends up literally taking advantage and literally taking out like all of these guys. And then we see Negan, and we see a young lady that's with him. So there is a young little girl. You've got Negan as well. They are basically kind of in this same location. They run into Maggie, and Maggie goes after them, basically, right? So Maggie, of course, runs into Negan. They kind of share a bit of a line, like oh, sorry, I thought you were better on your feet. And Negan's like, well, good to see you too, right? So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty awesome meeting between the two. And we then kind of catch up with Negan. We then kind of find out what's been going on with them. So apparently Negan's been out there on his own for a little while. Maggie does end up asking Negan like what's going on, where's Annie, where's your kid, that sort of thing. And Negan doesn't even answer the question. We actually don't find out exactly what happens to Annie in this episode. The only piece of information that he shares to Maggie is that there's this young girl named Jenny who is with him. And she lost her parents, I believe, is what he was saying, and she hasn't really been speaking. Negan is kind of taking her in now as kind of like a parent figure, or at least like kind of her protector, but she is not talking. She does not say any words. She does not have any kind of, lines or any kind of dialogue, at least so far, and it's all because of the trauma that this, little girl went through. So Negan's looking after her. Maggie, of course, is kind of surprised to see Negan, looking after someone like that. But then she explains to Negan that she got raided a few weeks ago by a guy named the Croat, who of course took Herschel captive, and Negan's like, okay, well, Maggie, how do I figure into this? Like, how do you need my help through all this? And she's like, oh yeah, well, the guy that took Herschel, you know him. And he's just like, I know him, sure, yeah, whatever, yeah, I'm sure I know him, And Maggie's like, you do, because when he took my son, you know what I heard from him? And I love the way she described this too. She's like, you know what I heard him do when he took my son? And it's like, oh shit, man, seriously? So as soon as Negan hears that, he's just like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm involved now because these are saviors. So now I'm immediately involved. So he tells Maggie that he knows exactly who this is. He does know who the Croat is. And it's someone from his past, a very, very scary individual that they're now going to have to face up against in order to get Herschel back. So Negan goes with Maggie, and Jenny goes with, I'm assuming, another one of Maggie's people or whatever, and Negan kind of asks, like, is she going to be okay with her? And, Maggie assures that, yeah, Jenny will be fine. Negan is now going to go on this mission with Maggie, just the two of them, and they're going to go to New York. So one of my favorite scenes of this episode is the dream sequences that Maggie's having, this like bad dream she's having, and it's like flashes of what happened to Glenn, what happened in the past, and what Negan did. And I imagine basically everybody that's watching this show would have seen the main Walking Dead. I don't really see how you couldn't. But I guess for the people that maybe never saw the main Walking Dead, I guess that's what that clip is for. But yeah, it was really crazy seeing that archive footage of Glenn getting his head bashed in. Seeing Negan, mocking him, seeing Maggie, crying her eyes out, and she wakes up from the dream, absolutely freaked. And Negan, of course, of all people, is in the back of the truck, and it's like, yeah, that's not something you want to wake up to. The guy that literally was just haunting you in your nightmares, and now he's speaking this bullshit about wanting to go to New York for all this time and wanting to see the Statue of Liberty in person. And Maggie's like, "Did you shut the hell up?" But Negan says, like, I could kill you right now, Maggie. I could. And she's like, well, that would be a really bad, mistake on your end. And I must say, guys, and this is one thing that really stood out to me when I was watching this episode, the dialogue, I don't know who the hell wrote this, but the dialogue feels so fresh. It feels so new, and in a good way. Like, honestly, the dialogue felt so authentic. It felt so real and grounded. I'm not saying that it wasn't in the main Walking Dead, but for some reason, like, every piece of dialogue in this episode was, like, super intriguing. The way they did it, I don't know what it was. I don't know what the special sauce was to make this super, good, even like the minor little interactions, but the stuff they were bringing up, the expressions, the way, Lauren Cohen and JDM were acting, like they even act different. Like they've got a new aura about them in this show, and it's really, really crazy. So they're about to cross the river. They're about to go into Manhattan when you've got a bounty hunter that's on the hunt for them. So this character is our main, I would say, antagonist of this episode, next to Crowout, who is the bounty hunter that is trying to kill Negan, right? So he enters the bar that Maggie and Negan were in earlier in the episode, and he asks the people, like, have you seen this guy Negan? Bashed a good amount of people's heads in with a baseball bat. So this guy is a psychopath, right? And these people are not telling Armstrong anything. So Armstrong has to take the main, leader, shove her towards this fence and threaten her that basically he's going to kill her and he's going to, make her get eaten alive if she doesn't say anything, right? So she says that yes, they were here. They left a little while ago. And he still, of course, kills her, which is insane. So Armstrong does not mess around. He is a super, super scary antagonist so far. And he had me on the edge of my seat when I was watching that. So basically, he goes after them. He ends up catching up to them later on in the episode. And one of his guys actually ends up getting taken by Maggie and Negan for information. And they go to Manhattan with this guy, that's captured, right? And this is like kind of like a young man. The guy's like not all that old. And he's kind of worried because he just wants to get back to his grandma, I think is what he was saying, because it's like some of the only family he has left, and Negan's just like, yeah, I don't give a shit about your sob story, you're going overboard. And Maggie's just like, well, no, wait a minute, like, he is just a kid, like, maybe we shouldn't do that, And Maggie and Negan have a major kind of like back and forth fight in this one, where they kind of talk about what's right and what's wrong. And Negan's like, you're still pissed at me after all these years, after everything I did, when really, Maggie, nobody's the bad guy here. Nobody's the bad guy. Hell, you probably killed a whole bunch of fathers and mothers and this and that, and you don't even know it. So don't act like I'm the bad guy, And it's so true. It is, Maggie and Rick and the rest of them, they went in there and slaughtered Negan's men. I mean, it's so true, in their sleep at the same time, Negan and Maggie very much so have both done crazy things just to get by, just to stay alive, It's like what Rick said in The Walking Dead Season 4. We've all done the worst kinds of things just to stay alive. I mean, it's honestly so true. But yeah, their dialogue there was really good. So they enter Manhattan, they go in basically, and I must just take a second to say the visuals were to another level. But there's a lot of things I love about this episode. The walkers that are falling from the skies, of course, because you're, from the buildings, of course, but walkers falling from the sky, as Negan says. And, the walkers felt like an actual threat in this episode. They had to hide from them. They had to, stay quiet from them, make sure they weren't heard. And you've even got like bugs in this episode, which is like, kind of part of the environment, which kind of adds to the tension. So that was cool as well. And of course, then you've got Armstrong that, of course, is trying to kind of hunt them down. So he even tells Maggie, like, I don't want any beef with you. Like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here to take Negan out. And of course, Maggie and Negan do end up fighting him. And they do end up getting out of there, of course. They do end up escaping Armstrong. But he's a very intimidating bad guy. He's coming after them. There's a lot of, cool fight sequences with him in this one. And Maggie almost kills him, but she doesn't. She decides she's not going to kill him yet. She, is not going to, put herself through that. And also because Armstrong does mention that he is a father to 3 kids. So Maggie's not going to do that. She's not going to kill Armstrong, which I found to be really, really cool, because at that point, is she really any better than Negan, right? So she does spare his life, which I thought was really, really interesting. Now, the final scene of this episode is Herschel, and of course, he's captured by the Croat. He is kind of being interrogated and stuff like that. Now, obviously, this is a recast for Herschel. This is a different actor. And he even says, like, yeah, you can go ahead and torture me all you want. You can sit there standing in the dark and try to scare the shit out of me, but it's not going to work. And the Croat says, like, yeah, I think you're going to like it here. There's a whole bunch of things we can do with you. I'm just like, oh, shit, man. So, yeah, Herschel's screwed. They're going to have to get him out of there immediately. And the episode ends with, from what it looks like, one of his, like, prisoners or something manages to run away, and he tries to get away at least, and Croat kind of has fun with this, and as the prisoner goes on the zip line, he cuts it and watches him fall to his death as he mocks him as he dies. I mean, Literally, this guy is so screwed up. I love the charisma of the actor already. He really does have a good charm to him. And I think he's going to be a really good villain. That was a really, really good start for him. But my favorite villain of this episode is Armstrong, for sure. He was a really intimidating bad guy coming after Maggie and Negan. And yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. So let me know in the comment section below, guys. What did you guys think of the premiere of Dead City? What did you think about it? What did you think of Maggie and Negan and their dynamic in this episode? What do you think of course, the storyline so far, Herschel being captured and that whole kind of thing? And where does this rank for you in terms of Walking Dead pilots in the franchise? For me, honestly, besides, of course, Days Gone By, because you're never going to beat The Walking Dead Days Gone By. Besides that episode, though, yeah, this is definitely my favorite episode in terms of all of the Walking Dead universe pilots. It easily beats Fear the Walking Dead. It easily beats World Beyond. And it demolishes Tales of the Walking Dead. I think Walking Dead is about to finally, after all these years, get a good spinoff. And if that's the case, I am super, super thrilled. So I'm going to give this episode a perfect 10 out of 10. I have no issues with the episode. It was a fantastic start to Dead City. It was a flawless beginning, and I cannot wait to see what they got next. So Dead City's here, guys. I am so grateful for that. And let me know in the comment section below, what are you guys expecting for episode 2? Predictions video for episode 2 will be coming out later today as well, too. And of course, our review for the mid-season finale of Fear. But for Dead City, that is a wrap, guys. So anyway, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the subscribe button to not miss any other videos for The Walking Dead at Dead City. Make sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for Dead City. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.